got Dylan in phase after the first drive or two. What does that look like, and how did you see him respond as a passer after that?
We were in phase from the beginning. Drive one, we moved it down, scored. Drive two, we moved it down, fumbled on the one. Unfortunate. Can't ever happen. Drive three, we moved it down and stalled out on the one, right? So I wasn't getting in rhythm. I mean, those two specific drives were, were just ugly finish, right? So the rhythm was there. We just didn't finish those drives. The fourth drive was irritating. That's when we stalled. Okay, that's when we stalled. And Jacory had the punt return to the 20. That's like a sudden change. I mean, we should treat that like a sudden change. Go out there with urgency and execute. And then we just went out there and 3 plays in a row we didn't execute. That was irritating. That was the most frustrating thing of the whole night. And so got to do a better job. I thought the rhythm was there. It's just those situations it's unexcusable not to be successful in those situations. Sudden change or finishing in the low red zone.
And you had 8 touchdowns in a row.
Yeah, we got in rhythm after that, when we finished drives. Our goal of scoring touchdowns 70% of the time for the second consecutive week was at 66. So we didn't meet our goal. Was I happy with how we responded at that point? Yes, I was happy with how we responded, and we did some really good things out there, and just a whole lot of good things, a whole lot of awesome stuff. The atmosphere was spectacular. It's my first night game, just felt good on the sidelines. Coach was preaching, great sidelines and great locker rooms, and the locker room was great before the game, and he made it great at halftime, but the sidelines was just a lot of energy and a lot of, obviously we played a lot of people and had a lot of positive things happen, but the way our players, on the sideline responded to that, I thought that was outstanding. We talk a lot about how you score, and I thought 5 points of pressure, everybody that's crossed the goal line had 5 points of pressure, and then there was a celebration in the end zone. That was just a lot of people that were having a whole lot of fun playing football. That's kind of what it's all about.
How much do you feel like that message in the locker room at halftime impacted the way the team stayed focused throughout?
It did. It wasn't the starters. The starters were rolling at that point, and then we came out and stopped them, and then we moved down the field and scored, and felt like Dylan needed one more, just because we're in rhythm and we're still trying to work some things out, and so his last drive he was feeling it pretty good, and it got him a 300-yard performance, which was important to me and him, and just because of how that game went, and so, but what the message did was get the attention of the backups, the red team, the white team. I've never seen, second team, third team, and it wasn't just offense. It was special teams. It was defense that went out there and played to that standard. That was really cool to see. I've never seen that, and I think that message at that halftime got the attention of not only the starters to go out to, keep it right, but for everybody else to go out there. That's how you end up with a score like that, is when your red team and your white team go out there and execute at a high level.
Why was it important in your mind for Dylan to get that 300?
It's not I phrased that wrong. It's that we don't have a set thing. It's just, he hadn't had one. He told me that after the game, that he hadn't had one. So that's something I think for every quarterback it's important to hit that number, and then work towards striving for hitting 400. Let's work towards that. If the games allow like that, all games are different. We're going to obviously play a whole lot of good quality opponents, but some of the things I saw, it doesn't matter who you play. Some of the things I saw, it's just hard to sustain that for 4 quarters.
What did you see from the offensive line on Saturday and how they opened up gaps in the run game?
Yeah, I think Donnie, starting with Donovan, some of the run game scheme was really good. We had some really good run schemes that put us in position for those guys to make those plays, and then obviously, the O-line going out there and executing that stuff along with the tight ends. Luke blocked well. Heinrich got in there and blocked well. It showed improvement, and so it was fun to see the backups go in there and keep it going, but I did think that the O-line played their best game, and for the most part Dylan had a clean game, didn't get hit too much, and we ran the ball really well.
From a layman's perspective, it looked like Lateef, played well. What did you see? What do you see in the game and in film?
Yeah, he's got a chance to be a really good player, I think, and so, he was always out there scrambling around, and you never know, are you really going to be able to do that? Is he going to tuck it and be able, I didn't know if he was going to be able to do that until it's live. I mean, we've never had him live here, so the lights were not too bright for him. I thought he did an excellent job with the communication. That's something that we constantly work on. That's what those GoPros are for, him in the huddle, what he says in the huddle. Obviously, he didn't have a GoPro on out there, but just what I could see, there wasn't any miscommunications. He did a good job of getting people lined up and on the same page, and then executed 2 good drives, and so that's encouraging to see. He does bring a different element to the game with his running abilities. Did a good job with decision making of putting the ball in play 6 or 7 times. Missed the one throw to Carter, which was disappointing, but for the most part, he did an excellent job.
What are the challenges of just a week like this? What are the challenges of managing a game like this with an FCS opponent? Just kind of get your guys up again after.
Man, I tell you, and again, I just think Coach Rule's doing an excellent job of keeping people's attention and constantly improving. Improving through practice. A week ago, I stood up here in front of you guys and I was irritated because I didn't feel like we had a very good practice. I didn't think it was very good. It got better on Wednesday. It got better on Thursday. The guys had some downtime Thursday, downtime Friday, downtime Saturday, and then they were ready to go. Okay, and so, today was better than last Tuesday. I thought today was a pretty good practice, so I think we have their attention. They were having a whole lot of fun last Saturday, and I think they're looking forward to getting out there and having a whole lot of fun this Saturday.
How have you seen Luke Lindenmeyer evolve and develop from what he was when he got here to now being starting tight end?
Yeah, it just keeps getting better. He's a security blanket for Dylan, but he possesses the ability. He's always in the right spots. He's always working with Dylan, and Dylan knows where he's at, and it gets a lot of check downs and stuff. It was nice to see him catch that seam route, early. We worked hard on that, and he keeps getting better and better. And congratulations to him, by the way. I mean, last Tuesday, I think it was his birthday. I said, happy birthday. Now it's congratulations on your engagement. But just proud of him as a human, But, from a football perspective, he's doing a really nice job.
Did you ever have any interactions with Houston Christian in your
Nah.
time with you?
Not one time. They might as well have been in L.A.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I had no interaction with them or their coaches.
How have you seen Quinn Clark not just accept being a backup guy this year, but pushing to play and contribute like he did, and maybe others like him who are not just satisfied with being in the background?
Yeah, I mean the ones that stood out to me were TJ, and then Quinn made that play. I've seen him make that play in practice. Okay, and so now it's transferring over there onto the game field. He's going to keep having more role. He'll play more and more every week. That was a spectacular play, and it was a catch and run. Last week I was complaining about the inability to be able to catch and run, right? And so I felt like that improved, and that got me fired up. I mean, that was one of my, that's pretty awesome play moment, and it was awesome for him to recognize his father crossing the goal line. And again, it was 5 points of pressure, and then he put the ball down about 7 yards in the end zone, and then in the back of the end zone, he acknowledged his father. That was a super cool moment for him, but it was a super cool moment for me to see the hard work that he's been doing in practice happen out there on the field. Carter Nelson took a step in the right direction. Isaiah Mosey took a step in the right direction. So there's young guys that took it. Keelan Smith made a play. So there's guys that had opportunities to go out there and do some good things, and they took advantage of their opportunities.
You mentioned the 5 points of pressure a few times. Maybe this is just something that slipped by me. What?
It's just ball security.
Okay.
It's just ball security. But you see so many times if guys crossing the goal line, they relax, and like TJ kind of relaxed a little bit. Okay. He was the one that didn't do this. You know, it was the first time that he crossed the goal line and he got smoked. It wasn't a dirty hit. He just, like, as soon as he crossed the line, it was a bang, bang play. That's why you got to do this. Okay, and Coach talks about that all the time. It's just something we've ingrained in their head from a ball security perspective. We work it every day, and it's good to see something little like that show up on Saturday.
Back to Lateef for a second. I mean, when you became the offensive coordinator, you kind of inherited him as a recruit. As you kind of assessed him, before he arrived on campus, what did you think of his high school tape, and what did you appreciate about him?
Yeah, he was highly recruited now. I mean, I knew who he was just from, you know who everybody is when you're recruiting at this level. So, I didn't recruit him. But I knew who he was, and, trust Glenn Thomas a lot for his assessment on recruiting quarterbacks. I think he does an excellent job of coaching the quarterbacks. I think he does an excellent job of recruiting the quarterbacks. It looks like our room's in pretty good shape, and we know it's committed as well. So, TJ's I'm just so thankful he was here in January. All right, so the 4 different installs of the 4 different periods of the year was very good for him. He sits there, and I'm in the quarterback room a lot, and I see what he's doing. He's taking a lot of notes, asking a lot of questions. He has the right responses. For a young kid, he's on track to being a really good player.
More on explosive plays. You guys accomplished that. What kind of overall do you need to see from your guys this week?
It just continuing to be able to. I mean, you put that on video, so was that just a one-time thing because we were excited about the light show and being up by a couple of touchdowns, or is that who we are? I do think that they're starting to listen to the messaging of what we can be offensively. I mean, we've had confidence of what we can be offensively, and they went out there and they worked hard today. And I was proud of how they did today. What are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to do on Thursday? And then what's it going to look like on Saturday? I mean, that's just a challenge not from Coach Rule, not only to me and to the coaches, but to the players as well.